Lots of Christians are familiar with looking at Jesus in light of the Old Testament, what's called typology. Looking at Jesus as the new Adam, or the new Moses, or the new David, the new king of Israel. But what almost no one does is take those categories and also apply them to Mary. In other words, if Jesus is the new Adam, then who is the new Eve? If Jesus inaugurates a new Exodus, then where is the new Ark of the Covenant? If Jesus is the new Davidic king, then who is the queen mother? Because in the Old Testament, the queen of Israel wasn't the king's wife, it was the king's mother. Are the Catholic Church's teachings about Mary biblical? Or are they just the traditions of men? Should we refer to Mary as the mother of God? Or was she just an ordinary Jewish woman, just the mother of Jesus? Did she remain a virgin for her entire life? Or are the brothers of Jesus that are mentioned in the Gospels her other children? What about her assumption into heaven? Where's the evidence for that in the New Testament? And also, too, by praying to Mary, are Catholics worshiping her? Are they committing idolatry? Why do we call her the Queen of Heaven when in the Old Testament, the Queen of Heaven is a pagan goddess? Lots of Christians in the world today think that the Catholic Church got its teachings about Mary not from the Bible, but from paganism and from pagan influences. In my book, Jesus and the Jewish Roots of Mary, I show you how you will never understand the biblical roots of Catholic teachings about Mary if you only look at the New Testament in isolation. You've got to look at what the New Testament says about Mary in light of the Old Testament. In other words, you have to look at what the whole Bible says about Mary in order to understand why we as Catholics believe that she was immaculately conceived, that she didn't commit any sin her whole life, that she was a perpetual virgin, that she was assumed into heaven at the end of her life. All these different teachings about Mary flow out of the Old Testament roots of who Mary is in the New Testament. In other words, the New Testament portrait of Mary is woven entirely out of threads from the Old Testament. These and other questions, all these questions, I take up in Jesus and the Jewish Roots of Mary, and I try to take you step by step from Genesis to Revelation and show you how, if you look at what the New Testament says about Mary in light of the whole Bible, as well as what ancient Christians believed about Mary, all of a sudden every one of these controversial Catholic beliefs starts to fall into place and starts to make sense. And what you're going to see is the more you understand who Jesus is and how he fulfills the Old Testament, the more you'll understand who Mary is and why Catholics believe that she really is the new Eve, the new Ark of the Covenant, and the Queen Mother of the Kingdom of God.